Okay, hi there, Simon here with Pt2. We're back with part 2 with Scott Hill, who's racing here at the Ironman World Championships in Hawaii, Kona. We've decided to bring it out a little bit into the open air. Beautiful scenery, beautiful sea, really warm. We've just had a quick swim. So yesterday, in part 1, we covered on the swimming aspect, Scott. So you've been out here for 2 weeks, as we say. Yeah. What type of bike focus have you been doing within yourself out here?
So initially, the bike was just to make sure it was working efficiently and how it should be. Again, what I mentioned yesterday is I'm not going to get any fitter here. The preparation to that was done prior to coming out. So my main aim here was just to acclimatise again, and practice that discipline on the bike itself. As mentioned, a few seconds ago, just to make sure everything was working fine. Initially, I thought there was a bit of an issue with my gears on the bike itself. Trying to fit a bike into a bike box, especially a tri-bike, can be an issue. And you tend to cover it up with bubble wrap and tape and cloths and stuff like that. So when I actually fitted the bike together, my gears weren't working as they should be. So it took just a little bit of a tweak here and there just to ensure that was working properly. And it was good to get that done early rather than have them issues this week and obviously race day as well, which is quite important.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the information that I gave Scott, being his coach, that he looked at getting the bike, making sure that everything is in working order as early as you possibly can to correct those mechanical aspects early on, and you can get rolling out in the atmosphere. Now here in Kona, it's the classic Queen K that we're talking about on most of the bike route in particular. Tell us a little bit about what you've experienced whilst you've been training out there.
So the Queen K itself is one of the main roads that run around the island. And historically, where the road runs it cuts through lava fields. So very much like the rock that we're sitting on now underneath the tower itself, which is lava rock itself. The road cuts through that. So you would go back to sort of UK conditions. Tarmac itself heats up and becomes quite hot in hot weather. All year round. That's like that here. And obviously you've got the lava rock on either side of the road as well. So you've got the elements out there of that. So the heat coming off that, the humidity. It runs in line with the coastline as well, so any wind that comes from the sea itself, which is behind us, you get the effects of the wind there as well. So you're very open and exposed to the elements there.
Absolutely.
And it's an out and back cycle on the race day as well. So a lot of people will train on that just to go and get a feel for that. And the winds here can change direction. So you could have a headwind on the way out. You could have a headwind on the way back. You don't know what's going to happen on the day. So it's good to train in that environment and get used to it and get a feel for it. Fortunately, coming from training in Norfolk and Suffolk area at the minute, it's always windy there anyway, so I'm kind of used to that, and I think that'll play in my hands on the day.
Now, for those that don't know, in Kona you're not actually allowed to ride anything deeper than a 100 mil deep section. No discs are allowed. It is known here for crosswinds and for high windage in itself. So you're riding your fast forward wheels on your shiv. Tell us a little bit about your setup on your specialised shiv that you've got.
So this is the second time here. Last time I had a 60 mil on the front and about, I think it was an 80 mil on the back, I think, that time. This time I've gone for a 60 front and rear.
Okay.
And the reason I've done that is obviously the winds for one, but obviously last time I was here I had to carry two methods of basically inner tubes. Okay. So a 60 mil valve will fit the wheels I've got now.
Sure.
If I want to have a deeper section, then I've got to have a valve extension on that.
Absolutely.
Which I had last time. This time I've gone for a 60 mil valve on the inner tubes, front and rear. So if I did get a problem, there's less faff or less complications for myself to deal with.
Great tip there, yeah.
So Perfect. It's easier for me just to take an inner tube out and put another one straight back in.
Sure.
And a 60 mil rather than having potential issues with a valve extender.
Sure. Now here in Kona, a lot of the brand manufacturers for bikes, they use it as a launch pad for their new products that are coming out.
For the new season.
I mean, we've just seen the specialised shiv, the S-Works that have come out for the likes of Lucy Charles and for Tim Don, Gomez and the likes of the guys riding that. That's coming in at around retailing around about £12,000 in itself, I believe.
I think it's not far off that.
Not far off that. Now you're riding the first generation of the shiv version, is that correct?
So I've got so I'm not an S-Works one, just the specialised shiv itself. Last year's model.
Yes.
And I've had a few brands of bikes now, and I've got that one last year. and I've had that since. I'm quite comfortable on that at the minute. Although,
Awesome.
you know, this year I've still had some adaptations to that, and you know, changed things just to suit me. You know, and that could range just from, you know, handlebar setups, you know, taking spaces out as, you know, the season's progressed is where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get myself a bit more aerodynamics over the season, rather than trying to do it all in one and having issues for making drastic changes.
Sure. This is a course. The course is, as we said earlier, is an out and back. Yes, there's winds, so you want to be staying as still and as aerodynamic as possible on this course. You qualified with Ironman Wales. Now, that is a totally different aspect of riding. It's a multi-loop course, and you've got hills which you're climbing out of the saddle because you have to get up the hill.
Yeah, totally. Wales is a course that I like. I enjoy it. I don't know if that comes from...
In a weird way, he enjoys it.
I do enjoy it. It's probably my favourite event to date. Even after, you know, being here in 2015, I think I still prefer Ironman Wales.
Sure.
The course itself, yes, it's different. It's challenging. There is hills involved, and that tends to put a lot of people off. But there's no escaping from that. And again, this course here, there's no escaping here, but for different reasons, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the climate more than anything here, not
Sure.
the actual terrain itself. Well, you know, the roads themselves. It's the climate here. That's
Sure.
what makes it so difficult.
Fantastic. You're all set. We're now 3 days out from. We're on the Wednesday, so we've got Thursday, Friday, and then we're almost 2 days out in particular. Friday, you're going to be racking all your bike,
Yeah,
and that's in the afternoon, I believe. So in the morning, we may schedule just a quick check over, last minute check on the bike in itself. Tomorrow, you've got a swim run.
Yes.
Today, you've already done an hour's bike out on the Queen K from the transition area out
yeah,
through the
kind
city.
of from roughly around there.
Okay,
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, so the first sort of section,
Everything's working well. Yourself, your body, you're happy with the way that things are standing at the moment.
It's quite important to train in the kit you're going to race in. Hence the triathlon suit that I have on here today, which was designed and made by Raceskin, who've supported me this season, which has been fantastic, along with the other people on the tri-suit itself. So, you know, back in the UK, I'll also train in this. Coming out here is quite important to train in that as well. You know, coming from pool sessions and lake swims in the UK to swimming in the ocean, you find that you'll get rubs in areas that you may have not had in the UK, and that could be an added effect of the salt water itself.
Absolutely.
So it's important to train in the kit you're going to use on race day, so that you can highlight them issues and rectify them in whatever means you use to sort of sort them out. It could be if you've got areas of chafage that you'll use a Vaseline or baby oil, or you know, some sort of chafage cream that suits you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's good to find that out early.
Definitely, great choice there in itself, and good pointers for people to reflect upon, no matter where they're racing. But then, what's the elements of the sea, the salts that you're going to carry out, and your body salts that you're going to be submitting, obviously, whilst you're out on the course, especially here in the heat that we're talking about. Now, you've also opted for a road, more of ventilated helmets rather than these full-on aerodynamic teardrop helmets in particular. The heat is going to be our biggest issue on that aspect. You're sacrificing your aerodynamics to a certain degree, marginal gain, to a more of a ventilation and welfare aspect.
Yeah, so comfort's quite important, I think, especially out here with the conditions. I think you've got to be as comfortable as you possibly can, especially for cycling 112 miles. It's a long way.
Absolutely.
And the last thing we wanted to do was to be uncomfortable, you know, have a restriction there that I wouldn't say, you know, would slow me down or speed me up either way. I just wanted to be comfortable, so I've opted for an aero road helmet,
Great.
Which I've been using all season in the UK, and it's been great. You know, fortunately, I don't have hair on my head. You know, I shave that off, so you know, I don't have that added extra heat that's there. You know, so I can vent, you know, that off quite simply with just having a normal road helmet, rather than enclosed into an aero helmet.
Good. Okay, so there we've had a couple of pointers from Scott in reference to the bike in itself. We're going to follow on to part 3 of our vlogs here, which will be looking at the run aspect, and we'll be looking at doing that tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and thanks very much, Scott.